Welcome back to part 2 of our discussion about why the education system is a dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire. We were trying to come up with like other words for trash, and then we realized we weren't educated enough to have enough adjectives to describe trash.
We're just not that smart.
Unfortunately not. That's why we're talking about this.
Yeah, we're just shitting on school because we're just not good at it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're pretty good at learning.
Yeah, I think we're phenomenal at learning.
I know, but that doesn't count.
The real learning starts once you get out of school.
True. I like that.
It does.
I wish someone would have told us that. Instead of being like, okay, I guess we just like figure it out. But like what we were kind of talking about in the first episode was like that kids are so much more aware than us at that age. Like the generation coming up now, like they're already evolved. Like they already know that like school doesn't really matter. And like everything we learned like at a certain age, they learned like 10 years prior almost with like the advancement of technology, you know? And I think that goes like technology in like the education system like doesn't make sense. Like they haven't been prepared for it and they haven't adapted to it. So like that's why I think it's just going to keep failing until someone like completely like reconstructs like the whole thing in America.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Like I feel like it just needs to be like, all right, we don't do this anymore. Like let's build it back up.
Yeah, I don't even know how that could start. Like they would maybe have to start like individually by certain schools or certain states making a change to things. Because like otherwise they'd have to shut everything down during the middle of the summer. Redo an entire school system within like 2 or 3 months.
Reteach everybody. Yeah.
Teachers have to learn an entirely new way of doing what they do. So like, yeah, that would definitely be something that wouldn't be immediate, but should be done soon.
I'm sure it'll happen eventually. Or people are just going to like stop sending their kids to public school.
Yeah.
Like,
or
who knows?
kids are just going to be so sick and tired of what they're learning about at school that they're going to spend their free time on YouTube and TikTok and things like that, learning about stuff that they actually want to learn about.
Right.
Not recommending to learn things from TikTok, but, you know.
You know, there's a lot of information
just
on
resources,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's true. It's like we're just going to keep learning, like, outside of school, like, the actual things we want. And, like, I mean, even what we were talking about before of, like, the difference of using technology to like write papers and stuff compared to like when we used to like write them by hand
in cursive
like it's weird that there's almost like that part I don't really agree with. Like I think there does need to be an even balance of still writing things because you commit it to memory differently.
I 100% agree with that too.
Yeah, like I think like technology 100% definitely is not the answer. I think there is things that we still need to use pen and paper for. But yeah, just an equal balance of that. I'm not saying that we need to learn cursive because I definitely don't use that, but like ever, literally ever.
Since I think early middle school, I've never touched cursive again. Right. Even going into high school, never.
No,
not
just
once.
Don't use it. I don't think they even teach it anymore.
Yeah.
Which is so sad. I wasted so much time doing that. And I remember my hand like cramping up with the pen. Did they let you use pens for cursive? My school did.
It was either pens or pencils, but with pencils they put like this weird grip to make sure you like held it with your thumb on one side and then your pointer on the other side and then your middle finger on the other side. So you have perfect handwriting. And honestly, it was annoying, but like I write maybe a paragraph or two every day, bare minimum, like 7 days a week, and like my handwriting has ever since then been improved because I had to be forced to write like that because my handwriting used to suck.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like once you started doing that, I used to feel like I also have like this callus on my finger from writing so much, which is cool. Like it's like good that I actually use that, but I don't know where I was going with that. I think I was talking about just like the endless amounts of time that we would spend like just writing in cursive, and I was like, what was the point in that? Like, why did we do that?
Yeah, it's almost like they were like trying to keep a lost art alive or something. Who knows? Even like fonts and stuff on the internet, like no one uses cursive.
No one uses it.
It's outdated.
Right. It's like, okay, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Oh, also, I remember like even in elementary school, like I refused to use pencil. Like I would always bring pens because especially with cursive, you can't like flow. Like you can't
That's
like
true.
really write with fucking pens. To this day, actually, one of my biggest pet peeves is like the sound of pencil on. I hate that. I literally hate it.
There's something satisfying about a super sharp pencil and being on paper, but one thing that irritates me is when you're writing with a pencil and then you have like this whole page, not the cracking, but when you have this whole page of like pencil and you're like writing and then you like pick your hand up and then like the right side of your palm is just covered in like graphite.
Yeah.
And then like you have smudges on the page and it's just, you could just use a pen. Yeah.
Or like people now would be like, just use your phone, just use your computer.
Yeah, that's it.
Avoid the whole issue. But I don't know, I think I like writing. I write pretty often as well. Like even when we prep for like episodes, I like to write things out. So I don't know, to each their own, I guess. Yeah. But I think there does need to be an even amount of like writing and like technology, like typing.
Yeah, typing I think is an incredibly important skill that should be taught in school. I learned a lot of what I do on computers now from early things in like elementary school. And one of my teachers had put like this, basically a case that goes over all the keys on the keyboard and you couldn't see any of the letters.
Yeah. We used cardboard boxes.
Okay.
We didn't have cases. They just put cardboard over the fucking keyboard and we just see it. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, why? Why?
What is your learning style? Like, are you auditory? Are you visual? Are you hands-on?
Definitely visual.
Okay.
I cannot, like, if you read a number to me or spelt out something to me, I can't write it down.
Okay.
Like when I asked for someone, like how someone spells their name or their last name, like I do not, the letters don't come out. I can't physically see the letters when I hear them. Okay. Isn't that weird?
Interesting.
But I mean, maybe that's why I'm like such a visual person too, is because I just have to see it to get it.
Yeah.
Or do it. Like I feel like going back to what we talked about last time was like very hands-on. I have to physically see things and move things around and check things off and write things down. Like I have to do something with my hands to commit it to my memory, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
What about you?
I think I would be similar to hands-on and visual because like again, like reading books, like I love like turning pages and like reading things and seeing things. I love learning.
You love
from
writing. I mean,
videos,
you write, yeah.
Writing, all that, and then hands-on too. Like anytime there was like a workshop in school or like something where I could actually like get my hands on and just like make something or build something or like just move stuff around. Like I was always the happiest learning that way. So auditory, I feel like I can still learn from because like I listen to podcasts and stuff like that.
That's true.
And people can tell me certain things, but like if I had to pick, it would be probably a good tie between visual and hands-on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I definitely like listening to things too, but I can't spell out things from hearing it.
And I guess like going back on auditory learning, when you're in a classroom, most of what you're learning is auditory. So people that don't do well with that, like when your teacher is like telling you something, or
I think that's why I hated it.
Yeah. You're like listening to a lecture for 45 minutes straight and it's in one ear and out the other. Like give me something to like actually work on and do. I don't want to listen to this 95-year-old teacher
talk about
monotone telling me the same thing that they just told the last 6 classes throughout the day.
Right. And I feel like that kind of goes into like where we're at with like college being worthwhile, because like why would, like, I understand going to college like for medical like purposes you need a degree. I absolutely understand where there's like a textbook and like you need to know these certain things, right, and pass and be like certified to do that. But like going to school for like media management or like any marketing position, I think is the biggest waste of money.
Oh, absolutely.
Because why are you going to learn how to manage a business from someone who did it 40 years ago and now is you know, like a professor teaching it?
They're learning at the same rate that you could be learning if you went on YouTube.
And learn for free.
Yeah. Like anything you need to learn that has to do with modern day technology, you should be learning from modern day technology.
Right. You shouldn't be learning it in a college classroom or from someone who did it 50 years ago.
Yeah. Spending ass loads of money to learn something that's free on the internet. It just doesn't make sense.
No.
Even if you found like a course or someone that had a really focused and dedicated like like pay me $100 and I'll teach you how to do exactly what I do.
Right.
Like, that compared to spending $25,000 a year to get a degree in marketing, like social media marketing or something like that.
Social media marketing, business classes.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to school for business, I think that's a joke. Like I just think that's like so ridiculous because also the majority of the time when you're in a college classroom, they have their assistant or the person that's working for them teach the class. Like they don't show up to every lecture. You know what I mean?
It's like there's definitely like things in the realm of like jargon, like specific language to like what it is that you're learning that might be beneficial, that could help you in business. But I think without real hands-on learning or doing like an internship at like a business that you want to work at, or finding someone online like a mentor or something like that that's already built a business and just actually getting your hands and feet in the game, like that's so much more worthwhile. And then the problem too is nowadays that if you were to go to school and you were to try to learn how to do business, marketing, anything with technology, like it's changing so fast. So you could end up spending 4 years in school learning how to do YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and then the year that you get out, guess what?
It changes.
TikTok, and then another platform, and then another platform, and now you're basically starting from scratch again, even though you paid money for these things that are probably going to be outdated eventually.
Right. Or even like look at how advertising has changed within social media.
Yeah.
You can't go to school to learn about advertising like in a physical college classroom. Like what they're teaching doesn't make sense to right now. Every year advertising is changing within different platforms. You know what I mean? And every different platform between TikTok and Instagram, how you advertise on each of those is completely different. So how are you going to learn that in a classroom that was built and the class was structured years ago? Like it's impossible.
Then, like for example too, not to keep on beating on that, but like Instagram, everyone was like, I'm gonna perfect the algorithm, I'm going to post at the perfect time, I'm going to do all these things, but the algorithm has been changed so many times. There's been so many new strategies that get introduced, and there's so many new things that work for each of these platforms, but it's changing like almost on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there's no way of like
pointless to go to school for that.
Yeah.
It's not pointless to go to school for some things, like as a whole, like not completely bashing college. Like if you want to go be a doctor, a lawyer, or something that's very like degree specific, I'd say go for it. But like if you're going for anything else, or you're going because you don't know what else you're doing, it's
go.
Like it's really setting you back. It's kind of pointless.
Yeah. I mean, even for like, I think of with photography, because I never really went to school for that. Like I went to a technical school in high school that taught me video production, but that's the amount of learning I did in like a classroom for like what I'm doing now. The biggest thing has just been like once a week. This has been like one of my, resolutions for this year, is just sitting down and being on YouTube, looking up tutorials on just how to expand what I do, or like different things to do for creative projects. And that's been the most helpful thing, like pretty much that I can be doing to grow, is just going on YouTube and looking at like what other people do, and finding things that inspire you and like help you learn, so I mean, I think pretty much anything you can go to YouTube and be like tutorial on this, or experiences with that. Just listen. What the fuck is outside? I don't know if anyone else
must be moving a cart or something out there.
So annoying. Is it
loud.
done?
I think so.
Okay, it's done.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For now.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah.
Go learn.
YouTube University. It's the best degree you can get, and it never ends, and you don't have to pay for it. It's pretty cool.
It is cool. I wonder what's going to be next after YouTube.
I was actually looking up YouTube competitors the other day, and there's really no one that's even close. No one that can touch
the original like platform for video.
The second closest one that you'll find is Vimeo.
Okay.
But Vimeo, the problem is that it's so expensive to run a reliable video service that can hold that much storage. Because if you think about how many gigs and how massive like this database of stuff must be that's on this website, without any crashes, with like loading, HD, 4K, 8K, all of these things, like YouTube is... There's not even something that's even remotely close to touching YouTube. And that's also another reason too why YouTube is starting to really double down on their ads. Like it's
so bad now.
It's like watching TV now, because they're realizing that there's no competition and they can start putting more ads on there, and they're like, well, we're going to start charging people now. If they want these ads to be gone, you're going to pay for a YouTube premium subscription.
Yeah. Like I did a workout video on YouTube the other day.
Every 5 minutes.
No, every 3. I counted every 3 minutes up until 20 minutes. it was an ad.
Holy shit.
And then once it got past 20 minutes, it was like every 5.
Wow.
Every 3 minutes. That's worse than TV.
I have to say, if anyone is on YouTube and you want a good ad blocker for your YouTube, I just found one, and it's called uBlock Origin.
Ooh, I'm going to write it down.
And if
Write that down.
If you're on like Chrome or Firefox or whatever it is, I think even your phone too, uBlock Origin just completely blocks all advertisement. uBlock space Origin, and it's U, the letter U, block as one word, space Origin. And no ads. It's great.
How does that work?
I don't know. They just go on and they just like filter out.
So you could be
ads.
on YouTube and no ad will play on your video? What?
Straight through. But yeah, no ad will play through. It's great. It just blocks all your shit.
Wow. That's crazy. I feel like I don't even like understand things like that. Like, do you remember in school there used to be like, I think it was like proxies or whatever to get around school websites. You could get on
MySpace.
Yeah.
At school, yeah.
Like we kind of learned some cool shit. Like I remember doing that in 6th grade. Like everyone would type in a proxy to get to a certain site.
Yeah, we adopted. We definitely adopted.
Yeah. We've been like, I mean, between making like MySpace layouts, like I feel like we have some knowledge. Like we started with the internet.
You just reminded me when I had a certain class. It was a Photoshop class in high school. And like I was always good at finishing my work fast because like I had Photoshop experience.
Yeah.
And I would finish my work and then I would just be like browsing the internet, like just researching stuff or just like looking at stuff. And my fucking teacher had remote control access of everyone's mouse.
Oh,
and
really?
She had seen me like working on this stuff. This happened multiple times. And she would go and she would take over my mouse and she would start running to like
Photoshop?
Like in Internet Explorer, whatever I was using. She would go and she would take my mouse to exit out of the page that I was in.
Oh my God.
To make sure I was still working. So I literally would fight her taking it. So she couldn't remove it. And she yelled at me one day and she's like, "Steven, get off the internet."
That's
and I was
so
like,
funny.
Okay. Fucking
be like, I'm done with my work,
shit.
bitch.
Yeah. Don't take control of my mouse.
It's against my rights. This is a public school. You can't do this. That's so funny.
Yeah, good times.
Actually, this reminds me of like, I don't know where I heard this. I guess my friend Jessie, who went to a private school, she didn't have this experience, but I know people in public school did, was like having, you know, college reps come in or like the military come in. Like, isn't that creepy to think about?
It was so infuriating.
It's so like gross. Like, it's like, okay, like
salesmen. They're salesmen. They're literally salesmen.
That's like, I didn't realize that until like a year ago. And she's like, oh, we never had people do that. It's like, oh, because you paid for private school, they didn't bother you. But if you go to public school, they're gonna come in and, you know, fucking brainwash kids.
I wish I could go back to school for one day just to sit in a classroom with a college rep that came in to try to sell kids on college, because I would fucking go off on them for just like, oh, here's how much money you'll make over time if you come into college, and like all the ways that I remember they tried to like upsell these things, but they never tell you that like you're gonna be stuck in debt until you're 50 years old. They never tell you that you have to take all these like stupid classes that are on top of your other things. They never tell you that like depression rates among college students are like at an all-time high.
They didn't give you any sort of actual information.
They literally, hey, come in and spend $40,000 a year at our college because it's great.
But we're not going to teach you about debt or what a student loan will look like, or like military. That's like such a I just like, don't get me started. Like, let's prey on fucking masculinity and like these younger guys that like want to feel like
that
powerful.
Don't fit in anywhere else.
Yeah, so like, let's just scoop them up and make them do like this push-up challenge. Just gross. I'm just like, I remember watching that and being like, why is there like 20 boys lined up to like do push-ups? Oh, because it looks masculine and they're gonna feel worthy after. Like, that would be like having someone come in and like do some sort of like makeup tutorial or some like beauty bullshit on women. Like, that's what it is. That's literally like what they're prying on in the masculine like dynamic. You know what I'm saying?
Just like, how many pawns to our chess game can we find at these schools? Let's go find them.
It's gross. Other countries aren't like this. I hate to say it, but They actually care about their citizens a little bit.
Yeah, like one of my favorite examples on public education is like over in like Japan, China. They have the smartest kids, like absolute smartest kids. And if you go in and you watch like some of the things that like these kids do in like their public schooling, like they teach them how to be kind, they teach them sharing, they teach them gratitude. They go out, they literally go out into the middle of like the schoolyard and they learn how to do like dancing. Like the in sync, they're all dancing together. They're doing like Tai Chi or like mixed martial arts. They're like doing
Montessori originated in Italy.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, Maria Montessori was like the teacher of that, and she was Italian. So again, that was a learning style from a different country.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to Japan, where everyone learns how to garden today, or everybody goes out and they learn. I learned ballroom dancing in 4th grade. I remember taking a class.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? And all the kids were like so weirded out because the boys had to touch the girls and we had to do the box step. I swear to fucking God.
Remember at the school dances when they're like shoulder length apart?
Yeah, like, and everyone's just like
can't touch each other. Okay.
Okay, like this is weird. Yeah, I remember that vividly, and it was so awkward. Actually, one of my favorite classes was in 6th grade. Maybe it was 7th grade. I think it was 6th grade. I had a peer. It was called like peer class, or like peer, like learning how to socialize.
Okay.
And like this teacher taught us, and she was like my favorite teacher. She was my homeroom teacher. Her name was Miss Sabrina. Also, we used to call all the teachers by their first name, not their last name.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So they felt like
like
more
a friend.
of a person. Yeah. And she taught us like just like etiquette in socializing. So like always look at someone in the eye, like how to talk to people older than you. It was pretty much on a class of like social respect.
That's cool as fuck.
Yeah. I almost forgot about that class.
Yeah. The only thing that was similar to that was like I had a teacher at one point, and he would make sure every single time before you walk in the classroom, he would stand outside the front of his door. And he would shake every person's hand every day before they walked in.
Who was that?
It was at Woodland Middle School.
Oh, I thought there was someone at Venice.
There might
have
been someone at Venice, but at Woodland Middle School, and like he taught everyone, like even females and stuff, like how to do like a proper solid handshake.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that stuff like that needs to be a class that like
teachers like that definitely deserve to be paid. I mean, teachers in general deserve to be paid more, but like the teachers that go above and beyond to like give you unforgettable things like that, like even the fact that I still remember that this many years later, like those are the teachers that should be making more money.
They should.
For sure.
Like I'll never forget that class. Yeah. Maybe it'll change.
Maybe.
Everything's changing.
Over time it will.
I think like just being hopeful and like that. I mean, like our government system, like eventually this is going to not work anymore, and it will need to be like rebuilt.
Gotta take out the trash eventually.
Yeah, seriously. I'm sure it'll be in our lifetime, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think everything's changing too fast for it to not change.
Happen. Probably sooner than later.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Wow, what a great combo. Yeah. As usual.
I love talking about how much school sucks. It's so fun.
We could talk about this forever.
Yeah, we could. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you. Adios.